Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at TV33WHPR.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
There's a new financial empowerment center located in the Wayne County Treasurer's Office on the 5th floor of 400 Monroe in Detroit.
If you or someone you know needs help with their finances, budgeting, and making monthly payments, the Detroit Financial Empowerment Center can help.
Wayne Metro Community Action Agency has counselors ready to provide free one-on-one counseling to help you address issues related to utility bills, taxes, and other financial matters. We can also help you improve your credit score.
Good morning. Here we go. We're running just a little bit behind time this morning. It's not the station's fault. It's certainly my fault and Marion's fault. A good start this morning, but things happen. Phones are ringing, emergencies come up, but it's all good because I'm here. And I is Maureen. My name is Maureen Taylor. I work with the Michigan Welfare Rights Organization. And I'm so glad to be here live and on air this morning. My colleague Marion Kramer is on her way. But as always, if you were looking for the weekly broadcast of the Ask Welfare Rights Program, you have been successful and we are here. And we meaning that I'm here and Marion will be here very shortly. We work with Michigan Welfare Rights to try to get this program called Ask Welfare Rights together. Every Friday from 10 to 11, and we try to ask the station, beg the station, massage the station, convince the station, persuade the station to air our program several other times throughout the week, hopefully so that any information that we are able to provide that might help members of our community, and our community means working and low-income working people, some of the information we provide might be of assistance. So today, again, is Black History Month. This is is this the 11th of February? Something like that. And it's a Friday. And as usual, Marion would be giving you an official welcome. I'll do that today. Welcome to the Ask Welfare Rights broadcast. The numbers are scrolled on your screen. If you're interested in calling us to share or correct or to add some information, call us at area code 313. It's all the same area code, 868-0342 or 868-0351 or 868-4336. If you are watching us on your computer, the website is www.wfrights.org. TV33WHPR.com. And of course, this is the wonderful WHPR broadcast that comes to you out of Highland Park. We're at 166 Victor. Got a little nasal drip going here. And as far as I can tell, I don't think there's another radio and or television operation in Highland Park. RJ, Henry Tyler, some of the folks that operate this activity, Miss Renee, Mr. Tim, certainly RJ Jr. and the RJ family, who for years have been our engineers. We watched those kids grow up, and they've got families of their own now, and it's just been a wonderful experience to deal with WHPR over a period of years. I think we exposed it last week before last, when looking at some of the props that Marion and I used when we first started here. And the earliest piece I could find was 2003. So this is 2021, 18 years we've been coming to this radio station. I want to lift up the name of Richard Hairston. Richard for years was one of the staples down here at WHPR with that golden radio voice. And as most of you know, he's still struggling with some health care issues, fighting and more fighting, and might be making progress. You know, it takes a long time to come back from serious issues. And he had a stroke, and that stroke has rendered him powerless in certain areas. But when we were all together just before the pandemic, Richard was looking good. Miss Elizabeth was looking good, and we continue to pray for ongoing recovery for our colleague Richard and Elizabeth Hairston. Want to do a shout out for Dwight, and Dwight is a frequent contactor, caller of this broadcast, and he has a specialty task that I don't know anybody else does, and he is a professional bee tamer, bee grower, and I'm talking about the little insect bee, and what he's able to produce and has refined over a period of years is he has bees that produce honey. And whenever I do something good and he appreciates whatever efforts I've made, he calls me and tells me to come by and get some honey, and he gets them in these beautiful little pentagon shaped containers, glass containers. And he gave me something about probably a year ago that he calls, I believe it's the Trinity. I might be saying it wrong, but 3 containers of honey at a time, and one is very, very light in color, brown. The next one is darker, and then the last one is darker still. Nothing is chocolate brown, but lighter, and lightest. And I tell you, I can take a teaspoon of any one of them, teaspoon of any one, and put it in my morning cup of tea. 1 teaspoon, and it's enough. It's enough. So Dwight has the best bees on earth. That's all I can tell you. I want to give a shout out to Harriet and Eugene. Harriet and Eugene operate a company called Satisfaction Realty. You should remember that. Satisfaction Realty. And what they do, they have an interest in housing, selling houses, renting houses. I get a list. Matter of fact, in March, I'm going to start making copies of those lists again and bringing them to the radio station so I can read the addresses that are available to be either purchased or rented. But Harriet and Eugene, they hold administrative positions in the different realtor organizations, but they are absolutely community oriented, and will tell you up front, if you have this kind of money, this kind of job, this is the range that you should be focusing on in terms of a purchase or rental of a piece of property. And they're just they don't allow folks to get into over or underwater contracts and whatnot in terms of trying to buy houses and whatnot that you can't afford. So I wanted to, and I got one more, and I got to get the number out. Hold on. What is it? Okay, we got new chairs here, ergonomic chairs. Satisfaction Realty doing a wonderful job. It was Jean and Harriet that first brought to my attention one of the biggest changes going on in the real estate market, and that is now if you have a 2 or 3 or 4 bedroom house, larger numbers also, what you can do is you can rent out rooms in a house. And I knew that people had done that over a period of years, but it was Jean and Harriet that pointed that out to a lot of us in welfare rights and other organizations, that was a trend. You could purchase or you could rent a house in a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house, and that would entitle you to your own sleeping quarters, closet space in that room. Electricity and lights, of course, would be in that room. The bathroom would be down the hall. You'd have access to it. So that means your lights, your gas, and your water were included in your rent. And there would be common spaces inside of that address. So you had access to the kitchen, and if there's a refrigerator there, and it would be, you would have to quarantine off your food that you bought. And some kind of way on this shelf with a sign, this would be your area of where your donuts were, where your fruit was, where your hamburgers were, and you'd have to quarantine that area. And I knew that such a thing was possible, and people had been doing that, but I did not realize that it was becoming part of an industry norm. Didn't know that. I'm going to give a shout out to another young man, Mr. Taylor, different Taylor, not related to me, but Mr. Taylor called me the other day to say that he was looking for persons who could paint. Persons who could paint, persons who had some drywall experience, lightweight handyman kinds of plumbing and putting up a faceplate over an electrical outlet, some minor kinds of things, but he was looking to hire some folks that had those kinds of skills. And I told him that I would share this information on the air this morning, and I'm doing that now. If you have an interest in that kind of work, painting, putting up drywalls, spackling, those kinds of indoor, and I believe it's all indoor work. He's looking to hire some folks that have experience, and he told me serious people, not one that would show up on Monday and come back on Wednesday and then the next week come back on Tuesday and say, well, what's the problem? You didn't want me to come every day, did you? Not that group. This is not the group for you. If you have no skills in this area and you're interested, and then if you ask yourself the question, do I get paid while I am learning, then this is not the job for you. This is not the one that you want. So the number to call Mr. Taylor is area code 313-467-4066. Area code 313-467-4066. So he's looking for staff. He's looking for individuals that have those kinds of skills. So if you have that, you'll give him a call. All right. We're going to focus in on this month, and this month is February, so we're talking about Black history, and I thought today I would raise this one specific person, but I'm going to start off with how I found out about this Black history icon. A number of years ago, and I've told this story on TV before, a number of years ago, I took my family, my baby sister Sharon, and I think Tiffany, I'm not sure, Tiffany I don't think was there, Clinay was there, and Chevis I think was there, and Navarre, my son. And I took them to Kentucky, I found out about this place. It's about 8.5 hour drive. And it's a federal installation, and it's called the Mammoth Caves, MAMMOUTH. So I took them first, but I've been there probably 4 or 5 times with families and children mostly, always chaperones from public housing. So I've taken low-income kids down to the Mammoth Caves about 3 or 4 times, I guess, over a period of years. And what's interesting, I didn't know what it was till the first time I went there. The Mammoth Caves are in fact caves. The word mammoth comes from the woolly mammoth, which is that great big old elephant. And mammoth means humongous, and it is. And when you go to the Mammoth Caves, the travel, I say, is about 8.5 hours. And on the way, we passed, in Kentucky, we passed acres and acres of tobacco growing farms. And I'm a city kid. I know nothing about tobacco or cotton or any of those kinds of things except for the things I see on TV. So I took these kids, we get a bus, 55 passenger bus, and put 49 kids on it, and get 5 adults, keep 1 seat to keep your juice, your pop, your chips, and everything else. So we do all that. And, oh, thank you very much. Okay. And, you know, along the way, we would pass by all of those installations. So Mammoth Caves has about 3 great big caves for you to explore. And it requires the capacity to be able to walk. So you have to descend in a narrow, it's not a staircase, but a narrow aisle, I guess we could call it. Passageway is even better. And you have to go down about 200 to 250 feet. Okay? And from there, there were large spaces. And of course, we're talking about a cave, so ordinarily there are no lights in a cave. If you're down 250 to 300 feet, somebody has to string lights down there. Somebody has to put lanterns up. Okay, so first time I went to the Mammoth Caves, and we had everything that we needed. What we didn't know is after I had made the arrangements and I didn't understand the significance of what I was being told. And that is what you have to prepare for is weather that might be between 50 to 55 degrees. And of course, I've got a busload of kids and grown folks in July. And so I insisted, I didn't know what it meant, but since it was on the brochure, you have to be prepared for that. I'm going to insist. So, you know, we had some kids to show up, and they weren't properly dressed. And as we were getting on the bus downtown, and I told them, you can't go. And you know, everybody upset, 2 or 3, but you know, you had to stay behind. So the rest of us got on the bus and we go down. And as you travel down this a walkway, this passageway, and you get to an area, and they've got it stringed, they've got it roped, and they've got it lit. And once you get to the bottom of the first cave, or at least the entranceway to the first cave, and then they turn the lights on, and you get a feeling of how tiny you are and how big this space is. Marion has arrived. And I can still recall your breath is taken away. You know, you're in a space, and when you first get there, everybody stops, and you kind of look around. What is this? And then the lights start appearing. And then you see how small you are, because all the way to your right, all the way to your left, the passageway you just came down behind you, and then if you look straight, it could be miles, and you realize, where the heck am I? It's a federal installation. I urge you, during Black History Month or outside of Black History Month, you should try to travel to the Mammoth Caves. And the first piece of information that the federal guard, and this is a federal installation, so, you know, we had a little lady, and she got on the green outfit, and there, you know, looks like a one of the guards in Yellow Canyon and the Yellowstone Park, the hat and the whole 9 yards. and she started telling us about this was a facility that has multiple entrances to get to this large space, and Native Americans would hide from other Native Americans, and they could take 3,000 to 4,000 horses in just the area where we were at this first time. And that's again how you understand the magnitude of the area you're in. 3,000 or 4,000 horses could fit in this place. And you came down the passageway where people had to come down. Now, if you've been to this radio station before, and you look at this table that Marion and I sit at all the time, this is about the width of this passageway that you have to walk down. So there are other passages that these Native Americans had found, had discovered, and they made good hiding places, and to take horse after horse after horse and have 3,000 or 4,000 horses able to hide in that area. So I'm going to finish this, and then we'll ask Marion to give her Black History Month story. It was down in these caves, and the guard is telling us about the 3,000 horses that can fit, and then the guard has a flashlight, and she's flashing in a lantern, and she's flashing it on the ground and telling everybody to walk in single file behind her. And we are, because now we're really scared, because we're in a place that's so big you can't even see where the walls are. And we go to several underground places, and passageways going up and passageways going down, and you know, this is just magnificent. And we get to a place where they have fluorescent pools, okay? And the fluorescent pools mean that if you take a rock, and that's what the Federal Guard did, and she dropped a rock, and you waited and listened to see how far the rock would go before it fell. And so, you know, you're saying 5 seconds.
You couldn't see nothing.
10 seconds. I couldn't see nothing.
That's right.
30 seconds. About 45 seconds later, you hear the plop, and then you're looking, all right, because now we're on a fence. We're on a bridge that is roped off, and you hear the noise. And as you look over the side of the bridge, this is a stand-free bridge that you're walking on. Then you see the pools of fluorescent lights start to rise up because a pebble that dropped fell in there. And you're scared again, right? Scared again, because it took 40 seconds for this rock to drop that far. And the point and where I'm going here is we met up with the remains and the plaques about this African American slave. And this slave's name was Stephen Bishop, S-T-H-P-H-E-N, Stephen Bishop. Stephen, hold on, I wrote it down. All right, Stephen, born in 1821 and died in 1857. He was 36 years old when he passed. But at the age of 17, Mr. Gorin, G-O-R-I-N, Franklin Gorin, at age 17, sold Stephen Bishop to another slave owner, and he became the tour guide, because now these capitalists had figured out that people might pay money to go down these narrow walkways and get paid to go on these tours so that they could see stalagmites and stalactites, all of these underground rivers that no one had ever seen. Everything is now roped and lit up so that you could see everything. And Stephen Bishop became the tour. He was one of the first ones to go further than previous tour guides and found the existence of ice or eyeless, that's E-Y-E, your eye, eyeless fish in these rivers. They didn't need to see anything because it was dark. So you had spiders. And of course, by now, by the time I'm going with these kids,
Oh, you were on the nut.
it was crazy.
It was
crazy. Well, I say I'm going to talk about that. It was crazy to see bugs that didn't have eyes.
That's right.
And they didn't need eyes because there was nothing to see because it was dark. There were bugs. We had been told there were birds, but we never saw any of the birds. But all these animals that existed below ground. And of course, by the time we got there with our tour of young people, they saw bugs without eyes, because in the caves along the walls, they had dug out spaces and they put lights in there. So they had replicas of fish, dead fish, with no eyes. I mean, just to see that. Spiders, some dead, most alive, with no eyes, all kind of animals.
And they didn't even,
You have to sit up here.
they didn't even think about us.
Well, no.
And that was good.
No, you know, because we scared to death of looking at spiders and critters and whatnot with no eyes. But they weren't afraid of human beings, because
No.
very few human beings came that way.
Oh,
You
it's
know?
quite a few human beings that came that way,
You know?
because even that time that we were there with the busload, as well as my kids went, the busload, it had all those other people that was pulling up at the time and waiting just like we did to be able to go in and experience this. So it is like Maureen said, that if you have an opportunity to put your children in the car, or go from your church, those that can walk, because you're going to walk once you get in
You
there.
gotta walk a lot.
Now, we don't know. They might be to put an elevator in there. But it's amazing just to look up and then look down and see where you are. The other thing is, when you talk about the young kids, the she had told us not to get close to the rope that was right there. And we looked
Now,
down.
Marion's talking about that stationary bridge,
Yeah.
and it's a rope on both
On side.
sides.
And do not do that.
Don't get to that edge.
Well, you know how kids are. They they made noise. They heard their voices, and then all of a sudden, the light shine came back on. They saw how close they were to that rope, because some of them they thought people were playing, but it was those kids did not go to sleep on the way back.
Well, now, let's take that even further. You
It was
remember when the guard said, this is how you can experience the absence of light. I won't forget that. Absence of light. And I thought, well, what does that mean? And she called off to somebody, Jim, you back there, Jim? And all of a sudden you heard this man's voice, I'm here. You couldn't see anybody. And they turned off all the lights. And these kids start running. You remember that? These children had never seen or had never experienced a total absence of light. And what I'm talking about, if you put your hands over your face and there is no light coming between your fingers, you cup your hands around your face, it's completely dark. Completely dark. And these kids had never seen anything like that. I had never seen anything like that. And just standing there, and they start screaming and running. Marion is grabbing kids. Everybody else is grabbing kids. Don't run. Don't run. You already saw, if you fall off this bridge, there ain't nothing going to be able to get. We can't find you. We can't come and get you. Nothing. So we were grabbing children. Do not run. Stop it. They were terrified. Terrified. It took us a while to calm everything down. Let's continue the walk through the tour. Go ahead, Marion. Woo, Lord.
But they might have been terrified, but once they got the understood that light, when that light came back on, they were not the same children.
Yeah.
Before.
They learned something.
They started being much more quieter and listening to the tour guides and everything. And they had a few questions themselves, because it was fascinating to be able to be in that cave. And that wasn't the only cave, remember?
Oh, it was 3 or 4 of them.
Out there with the trains and stuff. It's right there going south.
It's in Cave City, Kentucky. And it's the last city you get to once you get back on the freeway again. If you continue to go south, you're now in Tennessee. You done left the state.
That's right.
So here we are on this tour. Marion is so right. Everybody was quiet after that, because this was a horrifying, terrifying experience. you know, and oh my goodness, the lessons learned and the looking at the underground formations, and you know, even you know, I've gone, I say, several times after that, and it's a life-changing experience. I think that it still is, because it exposes you to experiences that you could never get. A city kid, a rural kid, you'll never find out this kind of information and what's possible. And employment opportunities are available in terms of joining the federal government and becoming a tour guide.
I mean, it's amazing.
There are, what's the phrase, zoology, to learn about animals that grow and develop and mature underground. There are, geologists, let me say the right word, and you can learn about stone foundations and water foundations and pools of water that are fluorescent pools. And what does that mean? What is a fluorescent pool?
Maureen, don't forget
you know,
this. They had a wonderful.
you have to sit up here, dear. You're relaxing
I'm
in the new
waiting to-
chairs.
They had even places for our children to buy knickknacks.
Well,
as
that was
well.
up top.
You know, in the main facility. And
Souvenirs.
I was scared. I said, well, we better not let them go, because they're going to be all over the place. That experience and all that darkness and what have you stopped. Those kids matured. And we didn't have to look for them. They came to us and sit down and start talking. Because it was
It's something.
it was something that they'll never forget.
Okay, and then I'm gonna finish up this story, and in terms of Stephen Bishop, there are plaques underground and lit up where he was 17 when he first started. On however many years afterwards, came up and was scared to death after 10, 12 years living down under, looking at the sun, because he hadn't seen it in such a long time. And it scared him to come up and take a look at this sun, this item that was up in the sky, and sent him off running and screaming, what the heck was that? He died at age 36, and I only found this out yesterday and this morning, Marion. He caught tuberculosis up here and ended up at the age of 36. He passed away. And he lived, kids doing extra assignments, Detroit Community School children. This is Black History Month. Go look up Stephen Bishop and go do an extra assignment about this young man. He passed away in 1857, and after being sold a couple of times while he was still a tour guide. And another tour guide slaver bought him, and a different slaver bought him. But his job was to stay underground. And the way it's written up, Marion, is what a wonderful young man he was, what a tremendous explorer he was during, and was able to discover all of these installations, the stalagmites, the stalactites, and the underground fluorescent pools and all this kind of stuff. But nobody mentioned the horror of his life having to live underground. And they didn't want him to come up. And, being a slave,
A slave.
Oh, my goodness, So it's such an interesting story. But Marion is right. If you have an opportunity, put your family in the car. Put your family in the van from the churches. It is a magnificent activity to go to, and I'll just end up with the Stephen Bishop story right here, Marion. Welfare rights, we like to plan stuff ahead of time, especially if we got kids going with us. You can't just go someplace and figure out how to manage while you're there. That won't work. And I remember one of the times we went, I don't remember if this was this time or not, once we got there, you had to get, we rented a bus. And then you had, we had the bus driver go to sleep because we're not going to leave until the following morning. And then we had to find a way to get to where the bus driver left us off at the hotel, where we, had 2 rooms, just everybody to get freshened up and whatnot. Carla, hold on a moment. To get everybody freshened up, and then you had to go to the cave. So we start calling Methodist. And Methodists, because we're Methodists, and we found some Methodist preachers and explained, look, we need some vans to pick us up from this motel and drop us off where we're going. And Methodists showed up and took us to where we were going. After visiting 2 or 3 different caves, come up and then go to the next one, come up and go to the next one, and then we came up top where we were able to purchase souvenirs and whatnot and take those things back on the bus with us. But the only thing I'll say about going to the Mammoth Caves is that your life changes. You go to the Mammoth Caves and you take a look at all of these things that existed well before human beings was on this earth, and the magnitude of how wonderful this thing is, it just shows up. Caller, you on the air. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, ma'am, and how are you?
I'm good.
Alrighty, ma'am, you have to turn your TV sound off. Ma'am, turn your TV sound all the way down and listen to us.
I turned my TV all the way down.
Okay, and then listen to us on the phone. And go ahead, you're on the air. Go.
I'm on the air.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. That was that was a wonderful story. I mean, that was so informative, and just to think about man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
boy.
Well, ma'am, do you have a report that you're going to share with us today, especially something about vaccines? Anything you're going to tell us this morning?
Yes. Yes. Yesterday was a good day. We actually entered into a coordination partnership, Highland Park Human Rights Committee and Coalition and Oakwood, oh my God, Oak Street Health Clinic. So they will begin, we're going to begin registering essential workers from Highland Park. Only Highland Parkers. This is a special project for Highland Parkers to get vaccinated. So, we're going to, get out a flyer, and it'll have a special line that'll be for Highland Parkers only to sign up and get ready for this vaccine. So,
Okay, now when is the flyer going to be available?
it'll be available probably one day next week. Like, I need to get a phone number. I got to get a phone number to put on the flyer. So,
Okay.
Dealing with that.
Okay, and
after
now-
that, we're going to get that flyer out.
Okay, and say again, now why is this effort specifically targeting Highland Parkers? Why is that?
Highland Park doesn't have a public health department. Plus, it's what some health workers, people who do open up clinics, they consider Highland Park a health desert. Because, there's just so much disparity in terms of the distribution of vaccines. We know that now it's more than, I think it's about 1.5 million people have been vaccinated in Michigan. But in areas of color, where you see black and brown people, the vaccine is not reaching. You know, you have people who are jumping ahead of the line, but the vaccine itself is just not reaching the communities, particularly, small communities like Highland Park, but communities of color in general just aren't being vaccinated.
And caller, I ask you to speak on one more area. I was glad to be able to attend that session yesterday, But would you, you know, if I call, I'm worried, and I call, and I live in, let's say, Oxford. I live in Oxford, Michigan, and I happen to hear that folks in Highland Park are going to be giving people the COVID-19 shot. And I'm scared because I'm in a particular age range, or I had these immuno issues, and I want to drive to Highland Park. How would you know if I sign up and I say I'm a Highland Parker? What's the problem with that? I mean, they still people that live in Michigan. Why should they not be able to come to Highland Park and get the shot? Would you speak on that?
Because Highland Parkers will be handling the telephone. And we know our zip code, we know our addresses, and we know pretty much the people, the residents.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't be able to sign up if you live in some way out place, you know, because we'll put a stop to that, you know, in terms of not letting you get ahead of the line.
Well, when you sign up and you call to get on the list, am I going to be told that I have to have some kind of ID? Because otherwise I could tell you I live at 123 Cortland Avenue. All right, so when I get ready to get my shot or talk to somebody on the phone, you know, especially when I'm told, or if I am told, that once I get to where the shots are going to be given out, are you advising people to have picture ID?
Yes, yes. People should have a picture ID. You know.
What if I forgot it?
ID. No exception.
What if I forgot it once I get ready to come and get my shot? Oh shoot, I forgot my ID.
Well, that we're gonna have to work something out with that. But
they're at the place to get the shot now.
yeah, but
Well, you don't have any kind of identification.
they're gonna have to go back home and get it.
You'll have to. I can't see you getting the shot that day.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So, Marion, you have anything to add? Because that was a pretty good session yesterday.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. One thing I see the enthusiasm on the part of the clinic to work with us on this, and the other thing is that we got to do more of these for Highland Parkers and other cities, but in particular where we live, Highland Park, because we've been looked over.
We've been ignored.
Ignored all the time, you know, and then you got to go in there and not only fight with Lansing and other places to be able to get some service for Highland Park, but at the same time you got to fight here in Highland Park to get some services. So, you know,
And
I'm
we
so
are grateful to welfare rights.
Thank
You
you.
know, Michigan welfare rights, and Maureen and Miss Kramer for the efforts that you put forward in order to help us bring additional vaccines to Highland Park. You know,
But you've been doing a tremendous job, Gracie, because it takes all of us to come and talk about the problem and then take up the responsibility with the group to help carry it out all the way. Maureen on the phone with Lansing, you know, and you constantly trying to talk to get folks in here to recognize that we're a community also. So, you know, we're really appreciative of all the work that you, Linda Wheeler, the Human Rights Coalition has been able to do. We're just beginning again. But all this stuff should have been done because, Gracie, let me say this, you were the one that was along with, I know Maureen and I was in, there too, but, you know, getting the, finding out if people had been, had the, what was that it threw down our throat? You know, when they pushed that thing down our throat.
You talking about the test
the test.
in your nose?
Yes.
In your nose, yeah.
It felt like it went all the way down. But you know, you were working hard even on that.
Even then, yeah.
Yeah, so we really are so happy to be in your presence and in the presence of the people that are willing to be a part of the Human Rights Coalition and Welfare Rights, you know, because we've been all working, you know, Sylvia been working hard from the People's Water Board to make this a reality over here in Highland Park.
Well, now, Miss
And,
Gracie,
and
give
also
us, Miss Gracie,
the,
give us your final piece of.
the Highland Park Human Rights Coalition, like they've been really involved in trying to bring some aid to Highland Park. And I know even with the testing that Welfare Rights arranged for Highland Park, you know, Solidarity was involved with that too. But you know, Highland Parkers, you know, see the citizens of Highland Parkers are the ones that are trying desperately to bring the aid to Highland Park that we need. You know, it's the community, you know, working together. So that's really important.
All right, now, Miss Gracie, we're almost out of time, so I know that the flyer that you all are working on be ready hopefully over this weekend. So by Monday or Tuesday, be ready to post. And my guess is that all social media outlets, you all gonna figure out a hard copy of a flyer, and somebody's gonna do it on Instagram, somebody's gonna post something on Facebook, somebody gonna post something on Twitter, and maybe we have to call Melissa. We got to get everybody involved so that there's a full court press on how these vaccines are going to be given out. So, Miss Gracie, people should be on the lookout, because I guess as soon as the phone number is made available, people will be signing up so that as soon as the next part of this is ready to jump, you'll already have a list. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, well, what's the last thing you want to tell us about this?
I just want to thank all the efforts that you put in to try to make this happen.
Okay. Well, Miss Gracie, next Friday, we're going to be waiting for you to turn your TV all the way off and have the phones up to your ears so you can talk to us on the phone. And hopefully by next Friday, we'll have details out where people in Highland Park only can call to get on the vaccination list. Thank you, Miss Gracie, for all of your hard work in this, and I'll catch up with you over the weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
And thank you.
And thank you, Miss Gracie.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye now. Caller, you on the air. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for being so patient. This is Ask Welfare Rights.
Thank you. I just have a concern. I see you ladies don't have a mask on. I don't know if I'm looking at it in the wrong perspective, but it looks like you're sitting really close to each other. We don't want nothing to happen to you two ladies. Why you all don't have your mask on?
We don't have, we take them off once we get here, and we have these coverings over the microphones, and Tim and them clean everything in between us, and so we're in good shape, but I like it that you're looking out for us.
Not only that, they keep this place so disinfected and what have you. But, you know, stay on us and make sure that we're safe. Thank you.
All right, thank you, caller. All right, Marion, you don't have a lot of time, but you got about 4.5 minutes. Give us your Black History Month story.
I just, again, want to go back. First, I thought about my mother this morning. And I, you know, you and I be talking about both of them, your mother, my mother, all the time. And, you know, women like that raised us like they did, it wasn't easy. It was not easy. My mother's name was Viola Ross. That was her marriage name. But her parents' name is Hill. You know, and I was telling Nicole, wow, you from Louisiana. You know how we are in Louisiana. we might be related with that Hill name.
Yeah, I seen that movie Deliverance. All of y'all is cousins. I seen that movie.
Oh, Lord. But on the other hand, you know, those women went to work for someone else to be able to get money for to put food on the table. They not only did that, they worked at the church. They worked, I remember my mother take the park in Dallas where we were living, was right down the street. You know, she could get off from work sometime and take us down to the park, Maureen, to make us understand what a swimming pool and what swimming was all about. And, you know, I was the only one in the group that, between me and my 3 brothers, that didn't want to get down in all that water. But she insisted on us doing that. She said, you never know when you're going to have to jump. You never know, how life, I know what life is going to leave you. But she was not only a woman that was interested in and would take the children places, in the community. And I would be thinking, I say, I wonder if Mother, if she's tired. It made her feel good inside that she had an opportunity to not only be with us, but to also teach us what type of living, what we were facing there in Texas, what we were facing in Louisiana, and what have you. My mother was active in, when the civil rights movement began to blossom. Viola made sure that her children were a part of that through our church, Golden Gate Baptist Church. And she made sure we again, I said, not to push us so much into it, but to understand why we had to learn to take a stand. So, we got to start raising those names and what have you.
Viola Ross.
Although Maureen.
What's your grandmother's name?
Alberta Hill.
Alberta Hill?
Yeah, Alberta Hill.
Okay, and was Miss Alberta born in Louisiana?
Yes.
Okay, what's Alberta's husband? What's his name?
Boy.
Granddad.
No. Yeah, he came from a family of 14 children.
Okay.
And his last name was Hill also.
Okay.
He's married
Okay.
to my grandmother.
Okay.
And
13. Those big family
13.
sizes.
Did I say 13?
You said a family of 13.
No, it was it was about 14 of them.
Well, I don't
And
think
then-
there's much difference between 13 and 14.
His name was Izzy. I laughed and forgot my daddy's name afterward. Isidore Hill.
Isidore.
And
Isidore
he had
Hill.
look, Maureen. He had a twin. What do you think the twin name was?
Isidore is a window.
No,
Is a wall.
Isidore.
What is
and
it?
Isidore Hill.
Oh, Isidore and Isidore.
But
Alright,
the
that's
two
interesting.
other twin passed away when they were babies.
My goodness.
But he was a.
Well, talk about pioneer women. So I know of first time I met your mother.
Oh Lord, she wouldn't leave my mama
Oh,
alone.
she's fascinating, and I would have gave her money if she had asked me. And I remember she's one of the first persons that I look forward to when she would come north and fix gumbo.
You'd be the first.
And, yeah, because see, you didn't know you didn't fix it like she fixed it, man, Medea. And we got just another minute. Where's that phrase come from, Medea? People from the South call their parents, their moms, Medea. Well, what does that mean, Medea? Does that mean mom dear, mother dear? Where's that come from?
All I know, I call my mother Medea, and my mother called her mother Medea.
Well,
So it is from the South.
it's from the South.
And people that it meant, women that took care of you were your Medea.
Well, I say it was a new phrase. I'm from up here, and I had never heard that before
Well,
until people.
Maureen,
Hey, I'm a city girl. I ain't ashamed of that. Shoot.
you know how you were.
I'm from the city, and I'm from the city even today.
And you ought to see
I'm
her when
not
she go down
interested.
south.
No, I don't go
We're-
down
we're-
there that often.
Wait a minute. Let us.
You only have 30 seconds
Let
to
us
tell
say
that
this.
story.
Let me One time with the National Welfare Rights Union, I said, instead of having a meeting in places that we have visited, let's go to Louisiana. Maureen and I could not get our membership from around the country out of Louisiana almost.
It was New Orleans.
Oh,
That's
my.
where we wanted to stay.
That
Y'all
not
wanted
only
to
they
go
wanted
the
to
meeting.
stay.
I wanted to stay where they had the shrimp. That's what I
They
wanted
went
to do.
my brother with his crazy self took them to a all-you-can-eat restaurant in New Orleans. We couldn't get
we
them.
told y'all to go ahead.
We couldn't get them out. Well, we couldn't go ahead because all of us was flying together.
Yeah, well, we didn't have to go. We was trying to tell y'all, go ahead.
You
We're
were
going to stay here.
You were one
We'll
of the ones.
wait.
You were one of the ones.
Oh,
Come
that
on,
was
we got to go. We got
Fabulous
to go.
trip.
But
All right,
it
Marion,
was
you
great.
got 30 seconds to say
It
goodbye.
was nice, and I hope that once this virus mess is over with, that we can go back
to
now
traveling.
and travel, and because we try to encourage our membership at times. Let's go. Don't be hesitating. Let's go, because they learn that you ain't the only person in the country that's going through some of the plight that they are going through.
Okay, 30 seconds. Say goodbye.
Bye, Maureen.
Well, we have to. You see what the sign says? We have to wrap up. So we're
The sign
wrapping
didn't
up.
say that.
It did. It says wrap up 3 minutes before the top of the hour. We're there now, you know.
Wrap up, Maureen.
I am. This is, again, a second rendition of what's going on with some of our families and Black history. And it's a lot of things, you know, really bringing stuff up. Viola Ross is special and will always remain special, yeah. Viola in that red dress. We have a lot more to go this month. Pay attention. The information on how you get on the list to get a vaccine for Highland Parkers only. Ms. Gracie and that team is going to release that information fairly soon. And I am on my way to my job, so if folks are looking for me, I'll be at Detroit Community Schools within the hour. And folks should know that starting tomorrow from 10 until 10 to 1, at Grand River and Wyoming, up at the Dabo Center, Detroit, or what is it, Agency for Black Organizations Association. All right, and they're doing walk-ups for testing tomorrow, and they might be even signing people up to get the vaccine. So up at the Dabo Center, go up there tomorrow between 10 and 11. They got a lot of things that they'll be giving away. And this is Reverend Sheffield's activity that's been going on for quite some time. All right, the Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we will be back again next Friday at 10 o'clock. You need us at Welfare Rights, call us at 313-964-0618. And with that, Marion and I will tell you goodbye.
There's a new financial empowerment center located in the Wayne County Treasurer's Office on the 5th floor of 400 Monroe in Detroit.
If you or someone you know needs help with their finances, budgeting, and making monthly payments, the Detroit Financial Empowerment Center can help.
Wayne Metro Community Action Agency has counselors ready to provide free one-on-one counseling to help you address issues related to utility bills, taxes, and other financial matters. We can also help you improve your credit score.